Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into episode 2 of the We Talk All Sports podcast. I'm your host, Will Karen, and I'm once again joined by Julio Vasquez, but we got two other guests this time. We got Elliot Batotsky from the Big Three, and we got Trent Washington of Top Notch Hot Takes. We got a loaded agenda of what we want to talk about tonight. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about our top 5 NFL corners as well as our top 10 players in each conference overall. So we're going to get right into the NFL. Then we're going to talk about the most recent trades and signings and extensions in the NBA. Malik Beasley just got busted for something huge that we're going to want to have to talk about here. And then, of course, we're going to wrap up the NBA draft and get Elliot's reaction to his Sixers drafting in the top 3. And then we'll shoot the shit at the end of this. So, yeah, let's get right into it. We're going to start off with our top 10 or top 5 corners list, whatever you want to do. Elliot and Trent have 2 lists that are very debatable. So, let's hear it. I'm going to start with Trent. I want to hear yours because I already know yours is going to piss off the others, so let's hear it.
With your NFC, Trent.
Yeah, we need your NFC.
NFC. Listen, now Elliot, I need you to go first because listen, Elliot goes first, and then I'll go, and then then I'll go for the first time for the next segment.
All right, go ahead, Elliot. You want to go NFC first?
All right. Yep,
AFC?
I'll go NFC first,
All right.
and I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically go by position, so it's easy for people to kind of realize like how I sorted it for top 10 best players. All right, the only quarterback I have on this list in my top 10 players in the NFC is Jalen Hurts. He won a Super Bowl. I don't think there's any other quarterback in the NFC that deserves to be on the list right now.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. Running backs? Saquon, I'm assuming?
I have one running back. Same Saquon Barkley.
What do you have, Lane Johnson? Lane Johnson too?
I have 2 wide receivers.
Devontae Smith and AJ
Jefferson.
Brown?
Okay, I like that. Justin Jefferson's good.
And CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. Trent likes that. He's a CeeDee Lamb fan.
I have 2 defensive players. Micah Parsons
Nicholas
and
John
Dexter
Bosa.
Lawrence.
What the fuck?
Dexter Lawrence. I like that. Not many people will pick Dexter Lawrence. He's low-key underrated because the Giants are just not at the top.
Betsy? All right.
At this point in his career, I know this is going to piss off Julio, but Dexter Lawrence is a more impactful player than Nick Bosa at this point in his career.
That's just
2 years ago,
that's
2
just
years
not
ago,
true.
3 years.
That's
2 years
not-
ago,
that's
3
not
years
even
ago.
objectively true. No, stop it, Elliot.
What's Nick Bosa doing right now?
Bro,
He's on a flight to where?
He's probably getting pressures on Brock Purdy in practice right now.
Oh, is he?
Definitely. What are you talking about?
Are you trying to hint that he's hanging out down in D.C. or something?
The only reason Nick Bosa wasn't as impactful last year is because our defensive line was terrible. He was the only one. So, like, generally, it's going to be hard when you're getting double team every game.
Sure.
All right.
All right. And then I got 1 tight end. It's George Kittle. And
Julio likes that one.
and then I have 3 offensive linemen
Talk to me.
because I think the NFC's loaded. And I have 2 honorable mentions. So I'll get this out of the way because I know Julio's going to go nuts. I got Chris Lindstrom and Trent Williams as honorable mentions. Trent Williams is maybe one of the best talents in the NFL, but I can't put him on that list when the 3 guys ahead of him have stayed more healthy.
Yeah, Father Time's catching up to him, to be fair. I'm not going to dispute that.
Well, if you're basing your list on like going into this year, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Going into
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
season,
That's what we're doing. I think that's what we're doing, are we not?
Yeah, just
Like right now?
Let's keep it rolling. I'm loving this right now.
Because Julio, I'd have CMC on this list if it was all time.
Okay.
I'd have Nick. I would have Nick Bosa on this list if it was all time.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about going into this next year.
Yeah. Okay, the last three guys: Lane Johnson, Tristan Wirfs, Penei Sewell.
Okay. I was like, if you don't say Penei Sewell, I'm throwing my hat offset right now. But you said Penei Sewell.
My honorable mentions, aside from Lindstrom and Trent Williams, CMC, Gibbs, Bijan, Puka, Amon-Ra, Mike Evans, Jalen Carter, Jesse Bates.
And not even A.J. Brown?
I did not have A.J. Brown on there.
Fair
I think
enough.
Amon-Ra is better than A.J. Brown.
I think he's more productive, but A.J. Brown's a better wide receiver.
No chance.
All right, so you want me to do NFC or what?
Yeah, let's hear your NFC. I want to see the difference between yours and Elliot's. Comparing, you guys are both Eagles and Cowboys fans. You're in the same division, so I already know this is going to get hectic.
Listen, my CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith, top 5. All right? Deron Blanche, Trayvon Diggs, George Pickens, Justin Jefferson, and Jaden Daniels.
Okay, I agree with Jaden Daniels. I like that pick. Is there any bias in any of these picks, boys?
Did he even say Micah Parsons?
I think that's a great list for most overrated players in the NFL.
Listen. You're right. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is overrated. You're right. And Justin
Jalen Hurts is the only good quarterback.
So
Justin
who carried them to the NFC Championship then?
Man, listen, that was a cakewalk schedule. They stop it. You know what's crazy though? Listen, this year though, the Commanders are gonna regress. They're gonna regress this year, so I'm not worried about it. They got Deebo Samuel who can hardly run a route. The dude's a back now.
Don't disrespect
seriously,
Samuel like that.
Dude, he is so fat now, bro. He is they honestly think adding Deebo Samuel to that team was gonna be a positive. He's not gonna be a positive.
Backup running back. What are you talking about?
Cool, have him as a running back. Micah Parsons.
Be a little gadget, little fidget spinner.
Go ahead, have him.
Spinner.
Dude, you're paying him all this. Matter of fact, I honestly can't wait for this season because everybody's doubting the Cowboys, but when Dak Prescott's healthy, he can give you 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns.
And when they get blown out 40-6 in the first game to the Eagles,
we're going to be right
back here.
We play you week 1, and I can't wait.
40-6.
George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, we're going to put you on an island.
I'm not gonna lie. We might have to do a opening night stream of the NFL just for the hell of it, because this is gonna be fireworks.
I can't wait. Micah Parsons is gonna be a madman after getting paid. He is about to come for Jalen Hurts. Pause. Can't wait.
All right,
I don't doubt the Cowboys can get 11 wins and get bounced out in the first round as usual. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Who they playing, the Packers?
We'll see. We'll see. We have a new coaching staff, so we'll see.
What do you think about Schottenheimer?
What do you think y'all gonna get? What's the ceiling?
I personally think I like him. You know, when you're a team he relates with his players. That's a cool thing. I already seen him playing golf and stuff. Mike McCarthy's big self was not doing that. He was not going on the golf field laughing with CeeDee Lamb and stuff like that. He just wasn't. And so, when you have that type of coach, you want to go to war with him. So we'll see what happens. Sailing, dude, I don't even know. I don't want to jinx anything because it's just this team could easily be a first-round exit, or they could be a championship team. So it's
that's where you draw the line.
Nah, it's not.
Second round max.
They have the roster. Bro, Dallas has the roster around.
The problem is you have Dak Prescott at quarterback. That's the problem.
Fine, but we're building the trenches up, and Elliot knows that. We building the trenches up right now. Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith.
You should have started that 4 years ago.
We should have, but it doesn't matter. We starting now. And Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are gonna have a breakout season.
But Elliot knows a lot about Miles Sanders.
Trent, I got a Miles Sanders jersey it's like a triple XL. It might fit you.
Listen, I've been drafting a lot of Javonte Williams. Miles Sanders, there's no way he's doing anything. He's not doing anything.
I got more hope in Williams than Sanders. Sanders has been passed around the NFC South, and he's not.
He's just not good unless he has the best O-line in the league behind him.
He didn't
That's
even
fine.
succeed on Carolina.
Listen, last thing I'll say, we got Kevontae Turpin. He's one of the fastest wide receivers in the league, and he can play in the running back field. Unlike he's faster than Debo. So if you want to do the gadget stuff, we can do the gadget stuff too. Like we can have fun. We can have a lot of fun with Kevontae Turpin.
Did you just try to
Deebo
flex
Samuel-
Kevontae Turpin on me with Debo Samuel? Come on, bro. Stop.
Bro, come on. Bro.
Hey,
Kevontae and
Speaking-
Debo in the same sentence shouldn't even align. What are you talking about?
Dude, Debo Samuel's washed. He's washed.
You called him James Harden 2 years ago?
Dude,
don't
he is
see that
terrible.
soon.
Bro, Debo can't even catch the ball. Like, not realistic. He can't even catch it.
But you're going
Like,
to see that.
Jawan Jennings outplayed him the whole season. Brandon Knight outplayed him, and he was awful, and he had an ACL injury. I don't
was-
want to hate that.
It just seemed like Debo didn't want to be there. He was done being a Niner. You gonna see now he's gonna be in a new uniform. He's gonna be excited to play with Jaden Daniels, and you're gonna see him ball this year. It was just a time. It was just sometimes you need a change of scenery. We see it all throughout. Sometimes players leave and they become better. So you could see him have a impact 2021 type of season now, especially because you got Terry McLaurin across from you.
I respect the fans that stick with players that were on their team and they still like enjoy their play. So respect to you, Julio, for liking Debo still. What if let's use CeeDee Lamb for example. If he left the Cowboys in free agency or whatever, hypothetically, not saying he will, but if he did, would you like him still, Trent?
Oh, that's my dog, man. But no. Listen, if you leave my team, I don't like you.
Fair enough. Elliot, do you still like Darius Slay?
I love Darius Slay,
Yeah,
but I'm glad he's not here anymore because you need guys to develop. The Cowboys just like to bring in guys to stunt guys' development. and
Well, how do you
growth.
feel about Kaylee Ringo being a starting cornerback?
Wait.
I love it. I love it.
go, Trent.
I'm glad they're giving him a chance. And if it doesn't work, you got a Dory Jackson there, a veteran who can hold down the fort.
And you have the Hicks dude, right? The other who came in with Ringo in the same draft.
Trey, you acted like a Dory Jackson was not an above-average corner last year for the Giants.
Bro, he could be above average. He could be elite. When you got to go against George Pickens.
George Pickens will be on the field for 9 games next year.
How much you want to bet?
$10.
You think he's gonna get injured, or you think he's gonna get suspended? Like, let's make this clear.
Anything.
You realize? Hold up. Because Julio
He's going to be
just said-
dancing with the cheerleaders at halftime.
Julio just said Debo didn't want to play for the 49ers. George Pickens did not want to play for the Steelers because he wasn't hardly getting the ball and he had horrible quarterback play. Now you're playing with a top 10 quarterback, Dak Prescott, that all they do is throw the ball.
Top
All they
10.
do is throw it.
Top 10
So-
Dak Prescott.
Okay, don't even bring that up, Julio.
No,
Elliot,
You're
you
talking
think
to a
he's top 10?
Cowboys fan.
Dak
Elliot-
Prescott
He's
is
not.
top- Yeah, he is.
He's not. He's not. But
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're just gonna let him. We're gonna let him have it. Let him.
Yeah.
That's not false, bro. Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback. That's
no,
not
not
even.
a chance.
All
Not
right,
a
well, let's do this then. Who is a bigger threat to the Eagles and the Cowboys? Is
Well,
it
let's go-
is it the Commanders or the Giants? Because the
the
Giants made a
bro.
lot of acquisitions on defense this offseason with Abdul Carter.
Doesn't mean nothing.
I know it doesn't mean nothing
Still
until
the
it's played.
Commanders.
Still the Commanders.
It's still the Commanders.
It's
It's still the
definitely
Commanders.
Washington. It's
Especially
absolutely
with-
Washington.
Especially with Tunsil coming in.
Yeah, I would say Commanders, but I personally think they're gonna regress, bro.
Yeah.
But and it's like the Giants to me is like you could have the best defense in the league, bro. You have Russell Wilson, you have Jameis Winston, like bro, like respectfully, bro, their quarterback room is just it's
What about
mid.
Jackson Dart?
Well, Trent, when you say
Dude's
when you
gonna
say-
die if he has to play a snap.
Hold on,
They have
'Cause
no
when you
offensive
say-
line.
because when you say the Commanders are gonna regress, sure they might not make it to the Super Bowl, but they're still gonna be a playoff team, second round exit most likely. But at the end of the day, I don't see that as a regression because you just went to an NFC Championship game, and
Bro.
at the end of the day, the roster is better this year than it was last year.
So,
They
Julio.
overachieved. They 100% overachieved last year.
They're
Julio,
not making the playoffs.
Let's say they have a similar season to how the Texans did. Is that a success?
As the
That's my
Texans did
opinion.
this year,
Because the Texans were like the hottest thing coming into the regular season.
Yep.
CJ Stroud looked like a top 5 quarterback. Their defense was up and coming.
It was injuries, though, Elliot. It was injuries. So if it comes to that, it comes to that. But
if they stay healthy,
yeah, if they stay healthy and they still have a Houston Texans type of, I will call that a disappointment because that's
Don't give Trent any ideas to create a parlay of Commanders players.
You realize
with Debo involved in it, all right?
Yo, the reason, like, don't get me wrong, Commanders, they were good last year. Jaden Daniels was awesome. But you realize the reason why they're in the playoffs is because my quarterback was hurt? Like, let's not forget that. Like, bro,
your quarterback sucks.
Hold up. Be realistic, non-biased stuff. Hate the Cowboys, like the Cowboys. The Cowboys, if they were healthy, was automatically pushing the Commanders and the Eagles for that to win the division. They do it every year. Don't forget, Dak Prescott owns that division. He owns it. We beat every single but we own the Commanders, we own the Eagles, and we own the Giants.
Remember this? Remember this?
You know why we lost that game? Dan Quinn came with no defensive.
Because Dak Prescott sucks.
No, stop it. Dan Quinn came
he
with
is the
no
Joel Embiid of the NFL
Stop
when it
it.
comes
Dan
to the big
Quinn
moment.
Wasn't ready. Dan Quinn wasn't ready. Dan Quinn
And
wasn't
I'm a
ready.
Philly fan.
If you watch that game,
takes
you
balls
know
to
that
admit,
Dan Quinn wasn't
Elliot.
ready.
He doesn't show up when it matters.
Who?
Trent, Dak Prescott is in fact a top 10 talent in the NFL for quarterbacks. But when it matters, he doesn't show up.
You know what, Trent? I'll give you this. Dak Prescott's a top 10 regular season quarterback.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
There you
I agree. Top 10
There you
regular season, yes.
For
As
sure.
soon as they're playing at 4:30 on Sunday on Fox in January, they're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Can we go AFC, Will?
Yeah, let's go AFC. I actually have my list, but you can go first. And then
All right. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, I got 4 of them on there, and it's the usual suspects: Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, and Allen. I did not include. I want to know what you guys think of this. I did not include Justin Herbert.
I didn't either.
I'm fine with that. I'm
I
fine
did
with
not
that.
either, so I'm completely fine with that. I think, personally, people take this as a hot take. I think he's the most overrated quarterback in the AFC, but that's just me.
I also only had 1 running back.
I had none.
I had Derrick Henry.
Okay.
I had to put him. I guess if there's anyone else I'd consider, it would be Mixon and Jacobs, just
Not in
because
the
they're
top 10
really
players, though.
no, definitely not. But they had really good seasons. Really good seasons. Okay, so that's 5. And then I only got 1 wide receiver, which is crazy. It's like you got the NFC is like the land of the wide receivers, and the AFC is like the land of the elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know. It's wild.
Right?
Imagine if they all teamed up. Oh, goodness.
Dude,
we're talking about the Warriors in 2016 all over again, NFL edition.
Seriously.
Yeah. The only wide receiver I got is Jamar
Chase. Yep.
Jamar Chase. And then I got four defensive players. Pat Surtain, Myles Garrett, Chris Jones, and then this last spot came down to 3 players. And it was between Crosby, TJ Watt, and Kyle Hamilton.
Overrated ass player. Can't stand
Who?
him.
Who?
TJ Watt.
Overrated?
I don't necessarily disagree.
Rated. Bro, when I say overrated, let me explain. They put TJ Watt as one of the best. Bro, he's not better than Myles Garrett. He's not better than Micah Parsons. Dude,
Is he better than Crosby?
No, he's not. He's not better than Max Crosby. Dude, I'm taking Crosby over him. You know who also I'm taking over him? And I'm having a brain freeze, so I'm gonna get back to you because I just.
Which team?
I'll get back to you.
Houston?
No. There's somebody. I'm gonna get back to you though.
All right. Did you get all your players out, Elliot?
Yeah, I had Will Anderson and Trey Hendrickson as 2 other guys that definitely were honorable mentions. Stingley and Christian Gonzalez, 2 cornerbacks that I think could be in that top 10 very soon.
Yeah, give me that Patriots love. We're bottom feeders.
You
Yeah.
didn't even bring up Sauce, though. No
Sauce is
Sauce?
falling off. I'm not gonna lie.
Sauce fell off a little. Not a lot, but
Just
a little.
bit. Just a little bit. He's
Yeah.
still top 5 corner.
And then three offensive linemen as well, who I think could have made this. Quentin Nelson, Creed Humphrey, and Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey's the best center in the league. Anyway.
You can go, Will, to tell your list, but so listen, I have a few guys I think is better than TJ, and they had the better. I got Neil Hunter, and I got Trey Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, yes. Danielle Hunter, no.
Danielle Hunter is a beast, though.
TJ Watt has 21 and a half sacks in the last 2 years.
TJ, right. Listen to Julio.
21 and a half sacks in the last 2 years, TJ Watt.
How many does Hendrickson have in the last 2 years?
I think Hendrickson actually had 15 plus in both years, yeah. So
does Cam Hayward have something to do with that because he's on the other side?
Trey Hendrickson's putting up 17 and a half sacks the last 2 years.
The last 2 years.
But I think that's an overrated stat, though. And let me tell you why. Because pass rushers, they got to do more. So, like, I'll give you an example. DeMarcus Lawrence is a good run stopper. He's no longer a good pass rusher. So when you get players that can stop the run and sack the ball, I get that like a double plus. I give you more, like, I respect you a little bit more. Because these players be getting 17 and a half sacks, but they got 4 sacks on one bad team.
So we're not going to say that like TJ Watt is not a run stuffer, though. Like, TJ Watt's a run stuffer.
No, but I'm not saying about you. I'm just talking about in general. That's what I view.
Right.
Right? Stopping the run.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I view. Because like when you look at, like, example again, like when DeMarcus Lawrence was on my team, they'll look at his numbers and be like, "Oh my goodness, he's awful." But if you actually watch him, he was our best. He stopped the run. You know what I mean? So like, there's more than just pass rushing and getting sacks. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Couldn't agree more with you. For my AFC. People are going to disagree. People are going to agree. This is why we have a podcast to argue it, because it's fun. Anyway, number 1, I got Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, I have Josh Allen. Number 3, I have Joe Burrow. Number 4, I have Lamar Jackson. Number 5, I have Jamar Chase. Number 6, I have Pat Surtain. Number 7, I have Chris Jones. Number 8, I have Myles Garrett. Number 9, someone who Elliot did not have, Tyreek Hill. And number 10, Max Crosby. Trent, let's hear why. You're muted, Trent. Let's hear why.
No. Honestly, I love your list. I love the 9 out of the 10 players you said. I really do. Right? I put Pat Surtain. I view him as the best player. Like, he's just a monster. I'll put him number 1. But look, you said Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill's still good. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, yes, he's had down years in Miami, but, like, he has games where he has, like, 300 yards. And you're like, whoa, where's that been the past 3 years, ever since you left Mahomes?
Well, that's why he's not a top 10 player, because he's not consistent enough.
I know, he's selfish. Everyone's going to say he's selfish because he wanted money. I understand it.
Well, that has nothing to do with his talent, though. I mean,
I think he's still very talented.
He's a top 5 talent. I mean, he might, in terms of non-quarterbacks, he might be a top 3 talent in the NFL. Like,
I put him on based off talent.
Who can do what Tyreek Hill does in the NFL?
See, and that's why I asked Ellie. I'm like, are we basing this off what we've seen before? Are we basing it off going into
right
the
now?
Season? Because if it's right now, I have to agree with Trent and Elliot. Tyreek Hill, I wouldn't put him in my top 10 going into this season. I would say I'll give Nico Collins the edge. That's the better wide receiver going into the season. But overall, I'm taking Tyreek Hill on my team any day of the week because I know how productive and dangerous he could be.
I think a lot of this has to do with Tyreek Hill having Tua as his quarterback and Tua just being one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the entire league because he's either concussed or not playing. So
that's true.
Imagine Tyreek with like Mahomes or something.
Yes, like I feel like if Tyreek had a Burrow, a Herbert, anyone above the level in the AFC of
1,500 plus.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. I still think he's a top 10 receiver in the league, and he's one of the better ones in the AFC. And the AFC doesn't have a real plethora of receivers like the NFC. That's the thing. Trent.
Can I ask y'all a question? Why do
Yeah.
this is kind of off topic. Why did we not add Jared Verse to any top 10s?
Just 1 year. He's too young.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
we're
but
going
if we're
off 1
talking
year,
about-
I'd put Brock Bowers in there if we were going off 1 year.
But we're talking about going into next year, right? They're going to build on this, right? I think
Who are you gonna put him over though? He's
Yeah,
not
they-
better.
DJ Watt.
He's not better than none of those 10 guys.
Trey,
He's
are you
not
putting him
better
over
than
Trey Hendrickson? Are you putting him over, like, are you putting him
Tyreek
over
Hill?
one of the?
Tyreek
No,
Hill.
well, I would put him over Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
like,
come at me. Tyreek Hill, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
not,
all
but-
right.
but at the end of the in Will Sliz, you might find a hole, but if you're not gonna put
Yeah.
him up none of the 4 quarterbacks.
You're
not
not
gonna
putting him over
punish.
Chris Jones. You're not putting him over Myles Garrett. You're not putting him over
Jamar Chase.
Surtain or Chase. Yeah, and then you got the 4 quarterbacks.
I just feel like he needs a little bit more respect, and Elliott should know what's up because he put that BTA on them Eagles. I know that for sure. He was putting
Who?
that belt. He was putting that belt. It didn't matter who it was. I'm
Who are
just
you
saying.
talking about?
Jared
You know
Verse.
who I'm talking about.
Jared Verse. All I remember is Saquon Barkley running right by that guy in the NFC Championship game.
That's cool.
That was
Guess
Cam.
what?
That was
Or
Cam
NFC
Curl. That's why he's not
NFC
playing
division.
Madden anymore. That was
No,
Cam
when-
Curl.
Remember when he slowed up and he let Jared Verse get closer to him? And
Yeah,
then he
so
just-
Elliott, Saquon Barkley's on the Madden cover, so good luck.
I actually have something to say about that, and I don't think it's going to be the Madden cover that hurts Saquon Barkley this year. This is for all our stat fans out there. There has not been a single running back to eclipse over 1,400 yards the following season that they run 2,000 yards.
He's saying he's going to get injured.
I'm saying he might have a good year, but it's unlikely that he has even close to the year that he had last year. To run even 1,500 yards would be something that's never been done before. He might catch more passes, he might score more touchdowns, but just based on history, I mean, like even a guy like Eric Dickerson, I think the closest guy was Adrian Peterson, who almost did it. Like he had like 1,200 the following season.
Well, I
but-
hate to say it, Elliot, but this is the year that y'all are going to have to lean on Jalen Hurts because the people are going
Absolutely.
to stack the box like the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl, and they're going to stuff every single
And-
crease. And
he
no
delivers.
matter I know you believe in Jalen Hurts, but every other
Yeah.
fan in this room better be sitting there saying, all right, like this is a hot take, but this is a career-defining year because he's not going to have Saquon at his side
Yeah.
like he's had to the extent.
It's
that
the
he did
difference
last
between
year.
it's the difference between him getting compared to quarterbacks like Jared Goff and I don't know. Well, I don't know what
Kirk
else. What other-
Cousins,
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe like even Joe Burrow right now.
Baker
I mean,
Mayfield.
I know Joe Burrow's an incredible talent, but what has he accomplished, right?
He's made a Super
And he's
Bowl.
had good teams. Joe Burrow has had good teams. Same with Lamar.
Terrible defenses though.
Yeah. No, I know.
And
That's just a
O-line,
GM
too.
not
Terrible
knowing how to
O-lines,
build a
too.
team.
All right, 2 minutes, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Final thoughts on the NFL.
Dallas Cowboys, 2025, 2026 NFL champions. Can't wait.
Flip that.
Hold on, we're not gonna do our top 5
Clip
corners.
that. Clip that.
But
Now
yeah,
we'll-
top 5.
Oh, yeah,
top
top
five?
five corners. You want to do
Just
top
a
5
quick
real
run.
quick?
Julio, you start it. Quick run.
All right, I'll go first. Number 1 corner in the NFL is Patrick Surtain. I shouldn't have to argue that. Number 2, I got Sauce Gardner. Even though people say he had a down year last year, he still had 9 passes defended, and he's been the highest PFF graded player the last 4 seasons, corner wise. Derek Stingley, I got at my 3, obviously highest paid corner, 5 interceptions last year, 10 pass breakups. Can't argue that. Jalen Johnson at 4 after making his first Pro Bowl, he had 10 passes defended and 4 interceptions. Absolutely locked down, Jalen Johnson. Number 5, I got Trent McDuffie. Just an amazing, versatile corner. He's a great run defender. Trent, I don't know what the fuck you're laughing at. Jalen Johnson is better than any corner on your team. He's better than Diggs. Jalen Johnson is better than Diggs, and it's not close.
I'm not even laughing at you. I'm laughing at Elliott because when Elliott seen you said Jalen Johnson, he made a face. So I was
Elliot, you
laughing
got a
at
problem
Elliott.
with that?
No,
Elliot,
no,
do
it's
you have
not
a problem?
I respect the hell out of Jalen Johnson. I think he is a top 5 corner.
Okay.
I forget which name. Who did you say after him? Trent McDuffie?
Trey McDuffie at 5.
I
Yep.
agree. I agree with that. I feel like there was one guy. Maybe I made a face that. I don't know.
Was
Listen,
Sauce at 2? Derek
It could have
Stingley
been
at 3?
Sauce. It could have been
no.
Sauce.
Listen, let me tell you my list, man.
I was
Christian
looking at Trent the whole time.
Yo.
Trent was just laughing, and I was like, Julio's, what the hell are you laughing about, Trent? Oh, boy. All right, let's hear your list, Trent. Let's hear it.
Patrick Surtain, Trent McDuffie, Sauce Gardner, Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, baby! we got a top 5 player in something, at least, even though we're garbage.
Nah, yeah, Christian Gonzalez definitely deserves a lot more credit for sure.
I'll throw a name out there because I agree with both you and Julio for the most part. Because I know he's not your typical cornerback.
God, if you talk about who I think you're gonna talk about, I'm gonna throw my hat across the room, Elliot. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Is not a safety. He's just the corner who will lock down your Cooper DeJean.
Okay, at least it wasn't Quinion, because I would have thrown my hat across the room if you brought up Quinion Mitchell again.
I think Quinion Mitchell is a more pure outside cornerback who has a higher ceiling than Cooper DeJean. But who's the better player right now? It's not even close. Cooper DeJean
Not close?
is
Wow. I think Quinion is pretty. I would give the edge to DeJean, but I think Quinion's pretty up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely he is. I'm talking like when I say not like close, I would probably rank them about, I don't know, like 10 slots from one another, like a top 50 player versus a top 40 player.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
if
On,
you
that
on
makes
put 'em,
sense.
yeah.
if we do a top 15 corner list, I think they're both within
Yeah.
that 10 to 15 range.
Cooper
Yeah.
DeJean would be top 10. I think Quinion would be top 20 or top 18.
You know why I hate injuries? Because just in 2023, Deron Bland should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But
I was
then,
going to bring him up.
yeah, right. But then he came back in 2024, and obviously he wasn't he was okay, but like no one talks about him no more, and that's what injuries do to you, you know. And this is a big year because it'll be interesting to see if Dallas extends him, and I don't think they will, which is going to be a problem because Trayvon Diggs is out the door. I'm not trying to make these Cowboys everything, but I'm just saying, like, Deron Bland, though, that year was a monster.
No, he was awesome. And so was Diggs the year before or 2 years before. It's just injuries messed both of them up, but they're both
Lenore
they're solid
was pretty
corners.
good too. Your boy Lenore, Julio.
DeMondre Lenore, yeah, no, he's a dog.
He's good.
He's a
Didn't he
dog.
just get arrested?
Yeah.
Better not. Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Stop
Something
playing with
happened.
me. He didn't get arrested. Yeah.
Something happened.
Yeah,
Look it up.
DeMondre Lenore did not get arrested. You're
Go
lying.
look it up. I'm not kidding.
Nah, he did, but it's nothing crazy though.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, bro.
He,
This is our corner one going into the year, by the way. What
You didn't Jabril Peppers someone. You're all right.
booked in Los Angeles after officers allege resistance to arrest and traffic stop.
Oh, okay. He'll be out.
So Tyreek
Nothing.
Hills, same
Yeah.
problem. Week 1.
Yeah.
He'll be
Fair
out.
enough.
Y'all scared me for a minute. Y'all scared me for a minute.
Anyway, my top 5 corners is very similar. 1 is Patrick Surtain. 2 is Trent McDuffie. 3 is Derek Stingley. 4 is Christian Gonzalez. 5, Marlon Humphrey.
Ooh, Marlon Humphrey's good name.
No, Humphrey's good.
I went all AFC there because I cannot think of a corner in the NFC that really catches my eye like those 5.
Do we count Brian Branch as a corner?
He's a safety. He's a safety.
Yeah. I heard they're going to play him at corner a little bit because they're hurt right now.
We'll
Well,
see.
well, at times he plays the slot, but there's a lot of safeties
Yeah.
in the league who play the slot, so I wouldn't call him a straight up corner just because he moves around.
They have a plethora of safeties up in Detroit. That's why they
Kirby
let
Joseph.
C.J.
Kirby
Gardner-Johnson go back to the Eagles.
CJ Gardner-Johnson's a head
And I
case.
want to do an honorable mention before we move on from the top 5 corner list. Surveyor's Word. Again, if he's healthy this year and he's on the field, starts all the games, he's a top 5, top 6 corner in the league for sure.
I want to do mine too for slots. Jordan Lewis.
Jonathan Jones.
Listen. If you watch Jordan Lewis, there's a reason why he got paid this year. He was a monster. Block.
Yeah, watch out for Jonathan
Wait,
Jones
are you
down in
saying
Washington.
he's
Watch
what?
out. He's coming, man. He's a
I'm
great
sure you're
slot
saying
corner.
are you saying he's what? The number one slot in the league or like top 10? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Oh, no, I was just double checking and shit. All right.
All right, moving on to our next segment. We're going to talk about NBA trades, signings, and extensions that have really caught our eyes. Trent, this has been your bread and butter. You've been on Instagram every day reporting this. What has happened so far that has made you go, whoa, what is going on? Go.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. And, I do want to say this real quick. Free agency is so useless. It starts tomorrow. But it's like with the new CBA, every player is just signing a massive contract before it starts. And then either they stay or request a trade. So it's so frustrating. But, just some other trades I can name. The Bane trade. They gave up 4 first-round picks. They're clearly going all in because, as you see, Will, with that Celtics hat, they're no longer going to exist. They are done for. The East is wide open with the Pacers being, injured. Well, Tyrese Halliburton. So they made a Desmond Bane trade, and I like it, I guess, but that's a lot of draft capital for them. Colin Sexton trade, which was odd. Like I knew he was gonna get traded, but for Nurkic, just like they traded for an expiring contract for Utah, but like Sexton to Charlotte is just like I guess okay, cool.
And
like,
they gave him a second. They gave him a second on top of it. Made no
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, Danny Ainge typically wins his trades, but I think he's just trying to free up some cap, to be honest. I think that's all that was. But I thought you could get a little bit more off that. And then obviously the Kevin Durant trade to Houston, which, looking back now, Phoenix, they did very well coming out of this because they got their center, and I could never pronounce his name. Can you pronounce his name?
I'll look it up real quick.
Well, Mark Williams should be the starter.
Malak?
Yeah,
Malabak, yeah.
Kumama.
Him, Mark Williams, you get Jalen Green. The Phoenix Suns, in my opinion, won the draft. Like, they literally traded up to get the number 1 pick in the second round to get
Rasheed Fleming.
Yeah, like, Phoenix looking back at that package, it looks good now. For Houston, for not giving up Jabari or Tari, that's a massive W for them, too. So, I'm interested to see how it works in Houston.
They just re-signed Jabari. Jabari.
And didn't Phoenix get Dylan Brooks back in that trade as well?
Phoenix got Dylan Brooks. So I think my problem with Houston right now though is they need a little bit more depth. They're relying on a lot of young talent coming off their bench. So when I say depth, they got Reed Shepherd. He hasn't played much.
Tyree Eason.
Cam
Whitmore.
They're
shopping Cam Whitmore as we speak right now.
There's a difference. I agree with Trent here. There's a difference between quantity and quality. They have quantity right now in terms of young players. They don't have a lot of quality guys that have proven themselves yet. A lot of potential, but
yeah,
I agree. They need some more vets.
Well, well, go out there and get Chris Paul then.
I'll throw out a name for the Rockets who I think would be a great fit. I think Kelly Oubre would be a great fit for them. And I think a guy like Cam Whitmore could be in the deal for that.
But Elliot, he just returned to the Sixers.
But yeah, and you can still get traded if you accept your player option.
Yeah, he could. But I think the better fit would be Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's a good name.
Could replace Brooks. I think Brooks is the better scorer. You could probably go with Finney, maybe the better defender. But it's just replacing him. And you're not asking for Finney-Smith to give you 20. Brooks, he had a lot of pressure because Green just wasn't stepping up. So, he had to score. Now that you traded for Durant, that's your number 1 guy. Fred VanVleet, Sengun, you got a nice core over there. So, I think that's the difference, adding Dorian Finney-Smith.
I get it, right? Like, you want to get the vets and, you want to add more veteran depth to your team just in order for it to have more experience, mentorship. But it's a new era in the NBA. You saw the Oklahoma City Thunder win a championship. I look at Cam Whitmore as a better player than Dorian Finney-Smith. And if I believe that,
Wow.
why would I go out there and get Dorian Finney-Smith when I believe Cam Whitmore's a better player? And that could just be me. But I think next season, Cam Whitmore's going to be a more productive player than Dorian Finney-Smith. So why would I go out there and give Dorian Finney-Smith more minutes? That's just me. That could just be a me thing, though.
And that's a fair point. But what I'll say to that, like I said, they're just not proven. Houston right now traded for Durant to win a championship, so their timetable is short in a sense. They got 2-3 years to kind of go win it. And Cam Whitmore is not a great shooter. You got to learn how to shoot, and you got to know how to shoot, right? And there's other things that he lacks. Reed Shepard, on the other hand, he didn't play all last year, so you expect him to come in this year and play a factor. He might, and I'm rooting for the kid. But it's just more tough, and I think that's why they traded for Durant. Because if they didn't want to trade for Durant, they would have let Cam Whitmore develop. They would be like, all right, fine, let's let these dudes develop. Because Tari Eason, example, is great defensively, but offensively, he's like, eh. So they probably would have just let them rock. But I think they want to win now. You should. You have Ime. You have a top coach. You were second seed last year. We'll see what happens. I get what you're saying. I don't trust them enough.
No,
And
I
last
think
thing I'll say, you
I
go.
think they got to go out there and get somebody. I just don't think Dorian Finney-Smith is the answer. That's my thing.
Well, I want to say something. I can't believe it. No one's bringing up the fact that how much of a win it is for Houston that they kept Amen Thompson. Because if they got rid of Amen Thompson, their defense will drop down significantly. And they kept him. And what was the number one problem with Durant and Phoenix? They could not defend. They didn't have size. They were all over the place. They still got Sengun. They still got Thompson. They just re-signed Van Fleet. I think this team could make some moves, like bench-wise, like similar to the Celtics did in 24 when they added key pieces to help their bench and go deeper in the playoffs. Same with 22. But overall, I think Houston, their window's open. It's 3 years. You got 3 years to win a title. If you don't win in 3 years, it's another Durant debacle. You got to win. There's no other way to put it. This team is too talented and too deep and has too many options for you to just sit there and be like, all right, well, I think we're cool. We don't need anyone else. I don't blame them for shopping Cam Whitmore. Let's add. Let's keep going. Let's add more. This team built the same way the Celtics did. They built it through the draft. They started with the draft picks that they've had, and they've stockpiled like the Celtics did, and they've traded off players for better players, where you get a player like a Kevin Durant, where the Celtics get a player like a Derek White. It's all those little trades that create these big mega teams that is going to be prevented by the new CBA. And let me just say this. I said this on the last part. The new CBA is an absolute disgrace. It's a disgrace. Why? The fact that you cannot re-sign homegrown players because of a second apron and you might lose your first round pick is ridiculous. Anyway, Trent, go.
I have some
Or
thoughts
Elliot.
on that.
Elliot, go.
Well, you mentioned the CBA, and I mean, yeah, it's complex, and a lot of people don't like it because it's hard for them to even understand it. But the whole point of it is to prevent teams from acquiring superstars and pairing them with other superstars, and then you get ugly, terrible basketball with Brooklyn when they had their big three, or Phoenix when they had their big three. And you look at the two teams that were just in the NBA Finals, it was never about stars. It was about a single leader and a supporting cast. And we keep seeing we're out of the big three movement. Now it was two stars when it was Tatum and Brown, and then a good supporting cast. This year it was really I would say SGA versus Pascal Siakam. If we're being honest, Halliburton was a non-factor outside of game one. Outside of game one, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Elliot,
But
I disagree. I disagree. J-Dub in the
J-Dub
playoffs,
is good.
the first 3 rounds was inconsistent. The finals, he looked like a superstar.
Yeah, you need two. You need two stars. You need two stars. You need one to
Jaylen
show
Brown
up.
picked up Tatum last year when he did decide to not
Mhm.
series.
Exactly. Exactly.
The reason why I'm not a fan of CBA is because it ruined free agency. That's the reason why. Like, I used to look forward to free agency every night when it was at night. Remember when it was at night? Then they changed it to afternoon, and now it's tomorrow at 6. And guess what? The biggest sign is going to be Nikhil Alexander Walker. Like, bro, like, just hear me up. Like, that's the biggest signing, and that's pathetic. And then you know the second biggest signing? Brooke Lopez and Clint Capella. Those are the guys that are going to get signed by one of the Lakers, and the whole rail is going to be like, Lakers are going to win the championship. That's what's going to happen. It's pathetic. Like, it's sad. Like,
That's a
Bobby
good point.
Portis,
I
Bobby,
love the Lakers hate, Trent. Keep it going.
dude, Bobby Portis just signed a deal. I thought Bobby was leaving. He stayed with the Bucks. Malik Beasley, this dude, and we're gonna talk about it later, but he might not even go back to Detroit because of what's happening. But if everything comes out, he's going back to Detroit. So these top guys or top free agents you want to call, they're all going back to their own team. That's boring.
Below
I
average free agents is what I
Dude.
call them.
I would love to wake up. I used to love waking up. I woke up one day and Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors. That's what I like.
Yep.
Now I'm waking up to
Take me back.
Kawhi
I'm waking up
Leonard's a
to
Clipper,
freaking
baby.
Jock
George just
Landale
got traded
signing
for
with the
5
Lakers.
first round. Yeah.
Like,
But Trent, you make a really good point. But what would you rather have? Better on the court basketball where the season is more exciting or where the off season is more exciting? Because in the moment you love the off season, but the product is not as good without the CBA.
Elliot, I'm gonna be honest with you, since I'm a content creator and I get some dough.
Yeah, I hear you.
Off season.
I agree.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. This is what the CBA was for. The Pacers to get to the finals. Those type of teams, right? OKC get to the finals. So, and then next year I'm interested to see how it goes because the East is open. The West, maybe OKC runs it back. Who knows? But the East is going to be different. It could be New York. It could be Philly. Psych. It could be Detroit.
Hey,
Cleveland. I think Cleveland could take a step up, possibly.
How can
Lonzo
I forget?
Ball?
They got Lonzo Ball.
They got more. I mean, yeah, they're not gonna bring back Ty Jerome because he's a free agent. It's like the thing that's insane about free agency is like you will never ever see a Kawhi Leonard signing at 2 a.m. to the Clippers ever again. You will never see like a Woj bomb like that. You'll get a Shams bomb of like Luka Doncic getting traded, which is ridiculous. But like, you're never gonna get that like Woj bomb at 3 a.m. ever again, and it's so disappointing. And I kind of agree with Trent on this. Like, yes, like. As a content creator, like it sucks because it gives you less content to go off of, but it also just like doesn't bring the season into the off season like it did in the past. Like last year, after the Celtics won it all, who the hell was a free agent? I completely forgot because it was that useless. Like I completely forget last year's free agency and draft because the draft sucked.
You know what made me love Sixer basketball? When they traded for Jimmy Butler. And then it was like, and then I got a notification at 4 a.m. later in the regular season that Tobias Harris was going to the Sixers. It was right around like Christmas. And I got that notification and I was like, I woke up to that and it takes you back, man. That was NBA was
signing with the Celtics or Al Horford signing with the Celtics.
Al Horford, man. Oh,
Kyrie Irving gets traded.
There's a mystery team.
Talking about Al Horford. Does he return to the Celtics or does he leaves and goes to the New York Knicks?
He's a free agent, correct? I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, I don't think he's coming back. Unless he signs a minimum, he's not coming back. That's the only way. I think he could sign a minimum, but I don't think he will. If he truly wants to play and run it back another year, it's most likely not going to be in green. It'll probably either be in New York, Nick, orange, and blue, or it'll be a team in the West that has a chance. Because right now, he's got 1 ring. He's just trying to make a case for himself to get into the Hall of Fame, and I don't blame him. Al Horford's a great center.
Let me hop in right quick. I understand that free agency could be less exciting when it comes to player signings and stuff like that, but we're not gonna act like the blockbuster trade era is done for. We just saw Kevin Durant get traded in a crazy deal. We saw Luka go to the Lakers for Anthony Davis this year. Like, I think the blockbuster trade are still intact, and that's something that could keep going. I could see superstars, again, because of the new CBA and teams not trying to hit the second apron, more superstars are gonna be traded as the years come. So I think that could be a way to balance it out as the years go on. But I don't like the new CBA, but I could see the good and the bad.
No, I agree. There's a lot more bigger trades. Like, who would have thought Luka got traded? Kevin Durant gets traded every month. He just like Kevin Durant breaks up with his girlfriend and then gets another girlfriend and then another girlfriend.
It's like an
Kevin Durant, like
OnlyFans
that's not
model,
even a
dude.
big
He
trade
gets
no more.
thrown
Are you
around.
saying, hold on, Trent? Are you saying Kevin Durant is the NBA thought?
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he is.
Dude,
I agree with him.
Be honest with you, when Kevin Durant gets traded, it's like, all right, cool, what team? Because dude, he's always getting traded. Like every if he don't win if he don't win in 2
It's a
years,
players' league, Trent. Everyone gets what they want.
Thunder, Warriors, Nats,
James
Suns,
Harden.
Rockets, almost Knicks.
wait,
Well, I didn't
Elliot,
hear a word you just said.
Elliot, let me ask you a question. Your guy, Quentin Grimes, just asked for
Yeah.
$25 million.
I saw that.
Wait, how much did
I
Quinn
saw
Grimes
that.
ask for?
25.
He wants 25 annually. For
I mean, man,
however-
when Emmanuel Quickly's making $35 million on the Raptors, give anybody anything.
I mean,
I feel like the new NBA is just it's all over the place
Well-
with the contracts, and I can't agree with a single
Trent,
contract.
you brought up what's his name on the Pistons, Beasley. If they can't sign him now because of what happened, now the market might go up and Grimes might end up getting that 25 that he's looking for. But as of now, where it stands right now, I think it's more likely he gets south of 20 mil because there's no one else who can afford him other than one team, and it's the Brooklyn Nets. Unless the Brooklyn Nets want to pay 25 mil, he has no market.
Yeah, you know what I'm ready for?
What?
The Brooklyn Nets have signed Jonathan Kuminga on a $35 million contract, and the Golden State Warriors will not match. And you know what? What's going to happen then? I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, baby. Go Nets.
I heard the Bulls want him. The Bulls want him.
Julio, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it made sense until the draft, and I'm glad we're talking about the draft next. Because, bro, Brooklyn had one of the worst drafts I ever – like, bro, their draft was so terrible, and they had 5 first-round
5
selections.
picks. Yeah, me and Will talked about that talked about it in the first episode. I mean, 5 picks. You go all guards, and neither of them have really high ceiling.
I said that the Nets were my loser. Trent, you want to go off that? You're on mute, Trent.
Yeah. Listen. Let me tell you something about the draft. The draft was great for some teams, and the draft was terrible for some teams. The Brooklyn Nets stood out to me before the draft started because they had 5 first-round picks. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, there's no way you draft 5 players. Like, that's not even really, like, to me, realistic. But I guess it's realistic. Yeah, right? So then I'm like, okay, maybe they draft 2 to 3 and then trade up. I'm thinking they're going to try to trade up at least. They don't even do that. Okay, cool. Then when you get the selections are like, what? Huh? Like, what? Like, what is Brooklyn doing? So now, don't forget, guys, they got Cam Thomas. They want to sign Cam Thomas back. So you want to pay Cam Thomas all this money, but then you just drafted like 5 guards. So what we go? We start Cam Thomas and 4 guards. That's what we doing? Because
and I think they have the Angelo Russell under contract too. Am I wrong?
Well, he'd be a free agent.
Okay.
But they can still bring him back.
There's so much cap space. I'm surprised they weren't in the True Holiday sweepstakes. He's a god.
So, like, Brooklyn is just like Brooklyn. Like, I was like, okay, maybe Brooklyn could do something this offseason. No, they just went down. Like, they went from okay, maybe something to one. They just terrible. Another mistake is the Pelicans. The Pelicans traded a 2027 first-round pick to trade up to get Derek Queen. Bro, the Pelicans are going to be a team that's probably fighting to get into the playoffs. Like,
I got more faith in their future than the Nets, though. Like, way
100%.
more. More.
I like Fairs.
Fairs, Trey Murphy.
And Herb Jones, Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray.
Jordan.
Ion.
Yeah.
It all sounds good, but guess what?
Iron Chef himself.
But guess what? Zion's over here facing allegations once again.
And he's going to play 25 games.
Yeah, he's in something. Yup. DeJounte Murray is just like he didn't. I don't even know. Trey
He
Murphy
ruptured his
and Hurt.
Achilles.
It's just like, dude, they're just pointless. So why are we trading a 2027 pick for Derek Queen? And he's cool, but you don't just trade a pick to trade up to get him. So I give them a loser. I think Miami's a winner. You had KJ. I can never pronounce his name, Kasparis. He fell down all the way to 20.
That was a great steal. Great steal for you.
He fell all the way down to 20 when he should have been a lottery pick. Obviously there's concerns, but at the end of the day, when you're drafting somebody at the 20th pick, you're not getting the best player. There's a reason.
Dude, Miami has drafted at that 20 spot for the last 4 freaking seasons.
That was
when you're an
That was the
eight-seeder.
Warriors pick, by the way.
For Jimmy Butler.
Then who else? Suns are winners. Suns won the draft. I think they won the draft. They had a really good draft.
No, I
Spurs
think the
won
Mavericks won the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Spurs. If we could do the
Spurs.
Mavericks and Spurs.
The Spurs won the draft. What can we bring that
Spurs
up real
might
quick?
make a jump like the Rockets this year. The Spurs might make a jump in the West like Houston did last year.
Yeah.
What do they
I
do
agree.
now with 3 ball dominant guards though?
Yeah, Elliot, and that's a good thing that you bring up, because before the whole Ace Bailey situation, I was like, listen, Dylan Harper's the better prospect, but I think Ace Bailey's the better fit. But now that you draft Harper, I don't, you could work with him. You could bring Harper off the bench and start Fox and Castle in the backcourt, or you can play Castle at the 3. So either or, I think you can make it work. Because
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you keep Fox for maybe a year or 2, but you trade him. Dylan Harper and Castle is your future, because having Fox on your team is only gonna hold these 2 players back. Respectfully,
They just acquired him though.
I that's the problem. But you know what the thing is though? They probably didn't expect to land a number 2 pick.
We're in the playoffs.
I mean, Trent. I don't think Trent is wrong though, because how many more years does De'Aaron Fox have? 3 more years. He's going into his final year right now. Oh, they probably let him go after this year. They have their 2
Unless
guards.
they extend him.
Hey, free agency's back,
Did they
baby.
not?
Free agency's back if De'Aaron Fox is a free agent. Watch out.
Yeah, I mean, if they just drafted Dylan Harper and they have Stephon Castle, who's a proven rising all-star in this league, I don't think there's really a reason to spend all that money on Fox, who's gonna demand in this NBA era at least 45 million. So I don't think there's no.
But yeah, he's an under. Yeah, this is his last year.
Yeah,
I
I
was
didn't
looking at it right now.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
You
that.
can see the reflection on your screen.
But if you think about it though, the Spurs didn't lose a trade because they didn't give nothing up.
Yeah, it's true.
So if they would have gave more stuff up, say if they gave Castle or even Keldon Johnson or Vassell, you start looking at the trade and be like, you might have traded for a rental, or you only traded for a player for a couple of years. But it's like they let Fox go. Maybe they flip Fox. You know what I mean? Because Fox is still valuable in the league. He's still a good, great point guard. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do think you let Harper develop this year, come off the bench, because at the end of the day, he's a rookie. He's not going to have like the expectations of him averaging like him being his top of his best game. So I think you let Fox and Wemby roll it out and see what happens. Yeah, but the problem is, don't get me started about Miami, because the problem with Miami is Pat Riley doesn't want to trade anybody. Pat Riley's the stingy owner who says, listen, I'm going to give you Drew Smiths for Kevin Durant. And then wonders why.
Reminds me of a certain GM in the NFL.
Yeah, Jerry Jones.
A certain owner. Pat Riley and Jerry Jones are like cousins.
Elliot, but at least Jerry Jones went out there and traded for George Pickens. Pat Riley's not even doing that.
Well, Pat Riley did trade for Jimmy Butler.
Because he was forced to.
Well, Jimmy wanted to go to Miami.
It was literally protesting. to leave. He did not want to play for Miami.
But no, I'm definitely looking forward though. You know, I think next episode we'll probably see about the free agents, and then I'm gonna go on another rant because Nickeil Alexander-Walker is probably gonna get signed by the Hawks or the Magic or whatever team there is that can offer him the money, and then he's just gonna be terrible. So yeah,
Let me give my quick thoughts on VJ, and then I'm gonna head out. All right.
That's
All
coming.
right. Yeah. I mean, you can't say enough good things about the person and just the mind. It's like the polar opposite of the vibes I'm getting from Ace Bailey, which is like in every media channel I've watched over the past few days, like that's all they've been stressing is just how this kid is. He's just focused on basketball, and yeah, I know it's cliche, but like the thing that he said about living on a generator and not being given things in life and just, he's doing this for his family. It's so anti Ben Simmons. Like this franchise was cursed with selfishness and what's the word I'm looking for? Like an ego. Just an ego. Entitlement, yeah, for years. And I think there's a little bit of entitlement in Embiid as well. I wouldn't
For
go as
sure.
far as to say I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like as bad as it was with Ben Simmons, but this roster is now at a certain point where after this season, things are going to change because you're at a standstill with youth and veterans. And with Paul George after this season only having 2 years left on that deal, suddenly that contract becomes tradable. Joel Embiid being 32 after this year and having that 3-year extension with the lack of good elite centers in this league, I think a team would be willing to take a chance on his injuries. So I think that becomes a question mark. Does he get moved? And now you're talking about a core of Maxey, McCain, VJ, and I mean, you could categorize Justin Edwards into that, who just got a 3-year extension. Adem Bona, who's a great backup big. I like where the team's headed. I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was, but I don't think a title is coming to Philly anytime soon. I think the only way they can get it is by looking at the blueprint that has been set by these younger, more athletic teams and setting a culture. Because currently, their owner cares more about his football team than the basketball team. So, yeah.
Just saying. But to end off the episode, I want to touch the Malik Beasley situation real quick. Everyone give me your thoughts on that whole situation. Julio, you want to go?
I actually don't know the situation.
You go?
I did.
Trent,
Listen,
you know.
let me say something. I always be wondering how they get caught. Is that just me? How do they get caught doing that? And okay, so one, how do they get caught? But two, Malik Beasley made tons of money in his life. Why are we doing that, right? And then another thing is he just probably lost $42 million. That's the contract that he was going to get, $42 million. Now everything this is just an investigation, so it's not saying like he did it or he didn't do it. You know, I just want to say that. But why are we even putting ourselves in that predicament? That's the only thing I got to say. Like, why? And what game did he bet? Did he bet, in the playoffs? Well, he made, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be curious what games are they betting? Are they betting on Terry Rozier so he doesn't know how to shoot no more? Because Terry Rozier was in those investigations too.
I don't understand how athletes keep putting themselves in this situation where they're getting.
Did you see the video of him like sprinting down the court a few years ago to make it a like 8-point game instead of a 10-point game? He's cooked, bro. He's cooked.
Yeah. Nah, he's definitely leaning guilty, 70% guilty, 30% innocent. But he's innocent until proven guilty. That's the American law that we have to follow as American citizens, unfortunately. But it looks very guilty. And it's become more common nowadays that athletes are betting on themselves to fail or elsewhere. We saw it with that Raptors guy last year. I mean, I just don't know why athletes keep putting themselves in these situations where the guidelines are clear. You can't do that as a professional athlete. You're getting paid millions of dollars. It's technically, according to the federal law, you're like cheating the system. We're basically cheating the system. You place a bet because you don't understand, like, okay, what's going to happen this game? You never know. Let's bet on it. Like, Malik Beasley betting on himself to go under the average that he has. He's going to win every time because he just has to pass the ball because he's on the floor. So obviously, it's a fishy situation. We'll see what happens. Do you guys think he's guilty? Elliot, I know you think he's guilty. Trent, you think he's guilty?
Say that one more time.
You think he's guilty? Like, do you think he's guilty before we sign off?
Julio, I can't hear what he's saying. You got to tell me.
Do you think he's guilty, Malik Beasley?
You think he's guilty?
Oh, yeah, I do.
For sure.
I think it's just so easy for players to do it now, and they can't help themselves.
I will say I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You're going by the innocent until proven guilty path?
Nah, it's more like yeah. There's more to it, but yeah, I'll just say I don't know.
Well, that is going to do it for episode 2 of the We Talk All Sports podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our new TikTok with Julio posting every day. He's on fire with that stuff. Follow us on Spotify. Subscribe over there. And yeah, have a good week, everyone. We'll be back here for episode 3 after NBA free agency. And yeah, have a good rest of your Sunday, everyone.